Some people still think anime is just a cartoon, something for kids to watch, laugh at, and move on. But if you've been paying attention, it's not just entertainment anymore. It's influencing real-world events. To understand this, you need some context. Indonesia has been facing a wave of political unrest lately. Citizens, especially students and younger generations, have been protesting against laws and policies they believe are unfair, corrupt, or harmful to their freedom. These protests aren't small. They've been drawing massive crowds, sometimes clashing with police, and getting a lot of international attention. And in the middle of all this, something unexpected happened in a sea of banners, signs, and flags. The Straw Hat Jolly Roger appeared. Now, for anyone unfamiliar, the Straw Hat flag is the iconic skull and crossbones with a straw hat sitting on top, the symbol of Monkey D. Luffy and his pirate crew in one piece. But why would protesters in Indonesia fly a flag from an anime? That's where it gets interesting. In One Piece, the Straw Hat Pirates aren't your typical villains or lawless criminals. They're a crew of misfits, dreamers, and rebels who challenge corrupt powers and fight for freedom. The Straw Hat Jolly Roger isn't about chaos. It's about refusing to be controlled, about chasing your own dreams no matter the odds. And if you know Luffy, you know he's the perfect embodiment of that spirit. He's a captain who doesn't follow anyone's rules but his own. He doesn't care about social status. He doesn't bow to kings or marines. And he'll fight anyone who tries to take away someone's freedom. You can see this side of Luffy in so many moments. When he punched a celestial dragon at Sabaody, knowing it would make him an enemy of the world government. When he burned the world government's flag at Enies lobby to declare war, just to save Robin. When he charged into Impel Down, one of the most heavily guarded prisons, just to save his brother Ace. Luffy is the type of person who will stand in front of an entire army if it means protecting his crew or standing up for what's right. That's why his flag resonates with so many. It's a symbol of rebellion, but also of loyalty, unity, and courage. In Indonesia, these protesters feel like they're in their own fight against a system they believe is corrupt and oppressive. By raising the Straw Hat flag, they're saying, "We won't be controlled. We'll fight for our own freedom." It's not just about anime fandom. It's about finding a symbol that everyone understands. The Straw Hat flag is recognizable worldwide. It carries a meaning that transcends borders. Fight for your dream, protect your people, and never let injustice win. What's interesting is that this wasn't an official movement started by some big organization. From what's been observed online, it began with individual protesters who were fans of One Piece. They brought the flag to a rally, others recognized it, and the symbol started spreading. In a way, it mirrors how the Straw Hat crew grows in the show, people from different walks of life joining together under one flag for a shared cause. And this isn't the first time anime has crossed over into real-world activism or bravery. In Hong Kong's protests a few years ago, people used V for vendetta masks and anime symbols to send messages about freedom and resistance. During the Ukraine conflict, some soldiers painted anime characters and slogans on their equipment as a morale boost. Even in everyday life, you'll see people drawing strength from anime, whether it's wearing a symbol for motivation, quoting a favorite character during tough times, or using it as a reminder to stand up for themselves. One particularly powerful example is how Naruto inspired some communities to use the Will of Fire as a rallying cry for unity and resilience. These aren't just fandom moments, they're proof that fictional stories can impact real-world courage. If you rewind 10 or 15 years, anime wasn't taken seriously in a lot of countries. Many people saw it as Japanese cartoons for kids, colorful, exaggerated, and not worth much thought. But times have changed. Streaming platforms, social media, and massive global fan communities have brought anime to the forefront. Now, people understand that anime can have deep themes, complex storytelling, and emotional impact that rivals or even surpasses live action films and series. And moments like what we're seeing in Indonesia prove that anime's influence isn't just in pop culture, it's in politics, activism, and the way people express themselves. These protesters didn't pick a random flag from a random show. They chose one that represented the exact spirit of their fight. When you think of Luffy, you think of someone who can't be caged. His freedom isn't just about doing whatever he wants, it's about giving others the chance to live freely too. In Alabasta, he fought Crocodile not for personal gain, but to save a country he barely knew because his friend Vivi asked for help. In Skypiea, he fought Enel to free an entire island in the sky that had been under tyrannical rule. In Fishman Island, he stood up against centuries of discrimination, protecting people who had been marginalized for generations. Every time Luffy raises his flag, it's a declaration that no one should live in fear of authority if that authority is unjust. That's why protesters relate to him. because in many ways, they see themselves as the Straw Hat Crew standing up to their own world government. You might be wondering, okay, but it's just a flag. Does it really matter? The answer is yes, because symbols have power. They unite people, inspire them, and give them something to rally behind. Think about how real-world movements have used simple images, a raised fist, a peace sign, a ribbon to represent massive causes. The straw hat flag is becoming one of those symbols, at least for some groups. It also shows how globalized media is influencing local cultures. A Japanese manga about pirates, adapted into anime, translated into dozens of languages, has now become a protest emblem in Southeast Asia. That's cultural crossover on a massive scale. While we've talked about protests and political activism, anime has also inspired countless positive changes in people's personal lives. People learning Japanese because they fell in love with anime dialogue. Athletes crediting Haikyuu or Kuroko's basketball for pushing them into sports. Aspiring chefs getting inspired by Food Wars to experiment in the kitchen. Students motivated by Dr. Stone to explore science and engineering. These might sound small compared to a political protest, but they're all part of the same phenomenon: anime inspiring real world action. The Indonesian protest shows us something important. The way we perceive entertainment has changed. Anime isn't just background noise for kids. It's a cultural force that shapes how people think, feel, and even act in the real world. Years ago, if you raised an anime flag at a protest, people might have laughed. Now, they get it. They understand the meaning, the context, and the power behind it. That's a huge shift in global awareness of anime. So the next time someone tells you anime is just for kids, remind them of this. Somewhere in the world, people are risking their safety, standing up to power, and raising an anime flag as their banner of hope and defiance.